is. Oh, my life. You know, something no, when I was writing up my thing yesterday for this episode, I was like, how old are the Big Mouth kids supposed to be? I mean, they're supposed to be, I think they're like 12, aren't they? Because they're like, right. So the main characters are depicted as 13 and 14 years old, primarily focusing on the awkwardness of adolescence. It's because it's like, and then when it says adolescence, you know, the key word, adolescence, I'm like, oh yeah, then we think of Adolescence by Stephen Graham. And I'm like, so, because you know the thing about adolescence is that we were all like, oh, what are 13-year-olds doing being obsessed with sex? And then if we want to take Big Mouth seriously, here we go, here you go then. Do you know what I mean? Big Mouth has that, especially Andrew. Andrew is a hound, like, he's a hound dog, like, or horn dog. What do they say? Yeah, he's a horn dog, bro. He's so weird. But I know that, look, because it says, the characters are introduced as being in the 7th grade, which typically corresponds to being 12 or 13 years old. When the show doesn't have a strict timeline, the characters do age up to 8th grade, meaning they're 13 or 14 years old. Nick is the youngest of the group at 12 or 13. Jay is 13. Jesse just turned 13 at the end of the first season. And Andrew is also 13 or 14. And Lola is 13. Lola. But no, and it's like, oh my gosh, every time I think about Big Mouth, yeah, because I feel like it's on the caliber of Family Guy. You know, in the days of when Family Guy used to be hip and it used to be everyone's show. Like, I used to watch Family Guy when I was young on BBC Three on the reruns. That was a good time. And Big Mouth is similar to that because I feel like, for one, obviously it's similar to Family Guy because of the fact that what's it called? That Nick plays most of the characters, right? He's doing a what's the guy called who does them again? What's his name? You guys probably like, why don't I know his name? I do know his name, but just give me a moment. Just give me a moment. But it's like yeah, sorry. Where's the guy, man? Yeah, Seth. See, I thought of Seth and I was thinking, yeah, Seth. But it's like, so Seth is also similar to that because obviously Seth does all the voices. And so does Nick. So he really did a Seth. It's not even like copycat behavior though, because that's what I'm like to myself. Is it copycat behavior that Nick did that? But no, I think to myself, if you are able to, as a comedian like that, as someone with a big caliber, you know, and able to do so many different accents, in one sitting, if you're able to do it, you'll do it. You know what I mean? What's stopping you from doing it? Nothing. So, and I know that if I think I forgot, but how many characters that Nick does? He does Nick, duh, because the show is supposed to be about him, right? Big Mouth is supposed to be about Nick, Nick Kroll, but as you know, when he was younger, I think it's supposed to be themed around him and like dealing with puberty and adolescent and like mental health and the human body. He changes in the human body, which is why the theme song is Changes by Charles Bradley, right? That's what I sang in the intro, right? That's what I sang in the intro of the episode. That's Changes by, and that's obviously just about, yeah, going through changes and getting hormone monsters, right? And every time I think Big is so funny. It's just like, imagine if your body could talk to you. It would be so hilarious. It's like, I don't even know. It's crazy. It's even, I'm sure some of the episodes have done when like they've been on their period or for instance like that. And then it would just be so funny if that could really talk and that, if that's how it really worked. Or even, who's the guy? The guy from Harry Potter, yeah? The actor, I forgot his name. But you guys know who I'm talking about. And I think he's called, obviously in Harry Potter, he's called Lupin? Yes, Lupin, right? And so that guy, he's supposed to be the shame wizard. And I love that. Do you know what I mean? He's a shame wizard and he shames the kids for like yeah, being weird. He shames them for being weird, or just like, you know, yeah, for being weird and being too obsessed with sex, basically. I think the only person who can really beat him is like, I think it's Jay and like Andrew. Them two in specific, they don't even let him really get to them, because they're both like Jay and Andrew. They're both just out of everybody. They're the most unique and like accepting that, yeah, accepting that they're weirdos. Accepting that they're weird, and they're like, okay, it's fine. Do you know what I mean? Or even what is it? The mosquito anxiety. I think there's the anxiety mosquito, right? Yeah, the one that buzzes all around the place. And I don't know. Big Mouth is so good, and I'm so sad that it's ending, to be honest. I mean, I am and I'm not. It's because I think what I said in my write-up again, in the description, which you'll see, is that, like, I was saying, like, oh, I don't know, like, it's gonna be a show that's going to be remembered, you know what I mean? It's not like, oh, it's finishing, we're all gonna forget about it. It's like a show that we'll remember, and we'll go back to it. And of course, because I mentioned Jude in the description, and I said, I'm gonna watch it for Jude. I said, give me Jude. Or Judd, sorry, yeah, Judd. So give me Judd, and I'm gonna watch the show again for Judd. I'm joking. And for everybody else, you know, Maya Rudolph, I'm gonna watch it for everyone else. Hello, and John Mulaney. And I'm so happy that, like, no, because Big Mouth introduced me to John Mulaney. I didn't know him before, and I feel like he's a really good comedian. Yeah, so John Mulaney's really funny, and so is obviously Nick. Nick Kroll's obviously funny, because I mean, he plays so many of the characters. Like I was saying, I mean, how many characters does he play? He plays Nick, like I said. He plays a hormone monster. He also plays Lola Scumpy. I wanted to say Jay. I don't think he doesn't play Jay. Jay's by that guy who's from Invincible. He plays the guy from Invincible. The one in orange. That's who he plays. I think his name's Jason. Then you also have, I think Missy's character was changed midway through the season. Her voice actor. At first, I remember it was that woman, Jessica Slate. I feel like that might be her name. And then it changed to Io Debris. And then but I think hers might have been the only proper change. I feel like everybody else has all stayed the same, to be honest. Yeah, in terms of voice acting, I think hers was the only one that probably changed. But everybody else has been standard normal, and everyone else has been, everyone's has been normal. It's funny, and I just like how, okay, you guys know it's funny. Of course you do. If you haven't seen Big Mouth, you probably should watch it. But I'm saying I like the way that they personify things, is what I mean. So they make, obviously, an anxiety into a bug. And of course, you think bug, you think pest. It's a pest. It bothers you. The depression kitty, yes, because when you're depressed, you roll up like a kitty in a way, or you roll up in a ball. So it's like, yes, a depression, like, being a kitten would be depression. Like, that's what I mean. If it was to be a real life thing, it would be a kitten. You know what I mean? Which is why they personify it in that way. And then, yes, so you have, obviously, like I mentioned, the Shane Wizard already, who's by that actor from Harry Potter. And obviously, I feel like, he's also a good way to personify it as well. To be called a Shane Wizard. Do you know what I mean? A guy, who can spell you into feeling shame, into feeling guilt. Who else is that I'm thinking of? I've also got ghosts. What else? Do you know what I mean? I love that they have ghosts. Because they have the guy who lives upstairs on Nick's attic. I forgot what his name is. Is it Duke Ellington? I think it might be Duke Ellington. Yeah, he's upstairs on Nick's attic. And obviously he's dead. And Nick can see him and he's a ghost. What else? It's weird. Like, also Big Mouth, because I think Big Mouth is rated 18. I want to check, actually. I think it's rated 18. Because what's it called? It has nudity. And I think though, although Big Mouth is educational, yeah, I think it having the rated 18 is obviously like standard. Like it needs to have that. Do you know what I mean? It's quite of a it's quite a mature show. That's what I was saying about the fact that like Judd, people were saying obviously that he's like Rodrick, but like he's not as violent as Rodrick. Do you know what I mean? No, he's more violent than Rodrick. Do you know what I mean? Like the way that Rodrick was to Greg is small in comparison to how Judd is to Nick. Like he flipping like what's it called? He's always on Nick's back and they're always fighting. Yeah, they're always fighting him and Judd. So yeah, but anyways, let me check that thing, and I don't want it to make noise because obviously, when you go on Netflix and then it starts playing the shows, and I'm just like, no, like I don't want that. I'm actually here for something. So yeah, so see, yeah, exactly. It's rated 18. I also love the other show that they did. Remember, I also love Human Resources. Human Resources was great as well. That was kind of like the spin-off, I think, as wasn't it? It was the spin-off of Big Mouth. So I don't know how many seasons they have of Human Resources. I feel like Human Resources is finished, actually. Human Resources might be finished. Because obviously we know that Big Mouth is finishing. But it would be great, of course, maybe, I guess, if they had one that kind of was still running. Do you know what I mean? If they kind of had one that, like, continued to stay. Or continued to still be made. Because, right. Human Resources actually only has two seasons. Human Resources, obviously, that's what I was saying, that I feel like they could keep that going because there's only 2 seasons of Human Resources versus with Big Mouth, there's 7. And Big Mouth obviously is their main show, but I'm just saying, like, Human Resources is their spin-off off of Big Mouth. And I feel like Human Resources is like, okay, it's still about like the kids, but it doesn't really just center around them a lot because obviously it's about the people who are involved in the kids' lives, like the Depression Kitty and like the Shame Wizard and all the Hormone Monsters and like even more. I feel like Human Resources just has all of that stuff, and it's just the same kind of thing. But then it's also about their lives because I really shipped who was it? I really shipped the Stone guy with Keke Palmer's character. I really loved him. He was great. I thought they were going to end up together, right? Pete. I thought Pete was going to be with oopsies, no. Yeah, I thought Pete was going to be with him. Was going to be with with Keke Palmer's character, but I forgot what her character was actually called. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I wanted them to be together and they weren't in the end because obviously that whole thing with Dante happened and it was just all a mess. I don't even want to. This is the thing. We're talking about Big Mouth right now. I don't even want to dive into the lore. If you know the lore. Do you know what I mean? We all know the lore, right? And even with Human Resources, it has a great lore. I'll be honest. It has great lore. Because it's like, we're just like, it's good that we were able to dive into their work lives and like how it is for them handling these kids. Like it feels like, what's his name? Who obviously, Rick, who's obviously Andrew's hormone monster. He has the most like best time. I think he's probably, I don't know, have they showed us Jay's hormone monster? I'm not sure. I feel like isn't Rick... I thought Rick was Jay's hormone monster as well. Or no, I know that he's Andrew's, but I think I forgot who's Jay's. Maybe it's the old one. But then I'm not sure because obviously they also have the old hormone monster, but I'm not sure if he's also that. So yeah, and why is that a big deal if I don't know that? It's really not. It's not a big deal. Sidebar. I know that Hunger Games recently came out and I'm going to watch it again. And I might even do an episode on it. But anyways, sorry, back to Big Mouth again. Yeah. And even Lola and Jay, right? There's just so many different, flipping thingy bobs. It's just nice. And it's finished, yeah, see? And they said, they've titled it called The Big Finish. That's weird. That is weird. That is weird. And obviously we know what they're talking about with The Big Finish. That's what I mean. The show is so crude. And I think to myself, and it is obviously, I think it does say crude humor. And I think it's more crude than any other kind of comedy sitcom, I can't lie. Like it takes the cake for crudeness and comedy. Like, I don't even know, when I think of comedy shows, I was like, yeah, obviously I've mentioned Family Guy already, but like South Park and like, I don't know, Archer as well. I think, no, yeah, they're quite similar. Archer and South Park, in terms of crudeness, Big Mouth's on the lane with them. Do you know what I mean? But then even when I think about Archer, I don't think Archer's that crude actually. When I think about it, it's actually not that crude. It's more so like, when I think of Archer's comedy, like to put it in a box, I think it's like, what's the word? It's like dark humor and like sarcasm and all those other kind of things. But it's not even like, I wouldn't even say that Archer's humor is crude. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I think in terms of crudeness, Big Mouth aligns more so with South Park or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, South Park was the king of crudeness and of going that extra mile. Even going back and watching season 1, like I'm actually watching season 1, episode 1, I'm starting from the beginning. It's like, I'm like to myself, what was season 1? I don't even feel like it's the bit where I remember like anything happening. Sure, I have watched the entire show, but I'm like, season 1 is a blur to me. I do want to break it down in seasons actually, and I might eventually. I think when I was saying before about the characters that Nick Kroll voices, I swear it's like Hormone Monster, Coach Steve, obviously Nick. So that's 3 so far. Wait, no, but I said Lola already, so that's 4. But could possibly be more though. That's what I was saying about him and Seth. It's like both of them have that in common of being able to voice so many different characters in one show, and then to switch between the voices, like, I don't know, like they're just talking normally. It's interesting. Because I was curious, because I wanted to know how they got the title Big Mouth. We always want to know what the origin is with like title names, and I think Big Mouth is titled Big Mouth because Nick had a big mouth growing up as a child, so that's literally why it was Big Mouth. You know, in my head, I thought it was Big Mouth because of like the sizes of Nick's mouth, like, and they've obviously made Nick, I think, look like maybe how Nick Kroll looked like as a child, but he's got a huge mouth with like four big teeth and big massive eyes. But he's cute though. He's cute. He's adorable. Do you know what I mean? He's a real cutie. I was thinking about this theory also in terms of Big Mouth, that like the characters are like they're hormone monsters, and I was thinking that is probably quite accurate. I do feel like Maury and Andrew do go together very, very well because they're very similar. I thought to myself, who would I want as my hormone monster? And who would be the person who would be there for me? Because there's Maury, there's Connie, there's Ricky, and Tyler. Because Tyler was Nick's hormone monster in the Department of Beauty. Yes, exactly. Ricky's the oldest hormone monster, and he's Coach Steve's, but he also later becomes Nick's one as well. So, very interesting. So what's this? They have this article. Big Mouth, all the human monsters ranked. I like a good rank list. Oh yeah, Gavin. Yeah, you don't see Gavin much. You don't see Gavin much in Big Mouth. That's what the article says. You see him more so in human resources. So yeah, he's not really that great. Yeah, Gavin's annoying. Then there's Tyler. Tyler's really cute, but he's not that great of a hormone monster because he doesn't have much personal experience. Oh yeah, and then there's Bonnie, who's Connie's twin sister, which is funny. Okay, then there's Rick, but I don't know, like, yeah, but exactly the thing is he's got plenty of experience, but he really should have retired years ago. Exactly, the guy should have been done. Yes, and Mona. Mona showed up as a monstrous in season 3, and Mona becomes Missy's hormone monster. I think I'd want Mona to be mine actually. Now that I think about it, I love that I zoomed in on that. And I'm obviously going through this ranking list, and I'm like, yeah, Mona would be my hormone monster because she's super crazy as well. She's super crazy. Like, look, exactly what makes Mona different from someone like Connie is that Mona prefers to lead through chaos. She seems to feel that she gets her best results when she has Missy do something that just throws everything into disarray. It often works for Missy, but makes everyone else's lives very difficult. And I mean, Connie is charismatic, quirky, and fierce. She's ready to say her opinion. She can go to characters like Maurice. Like, yeah, Connie's great, but I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Right. So I don't know. Connie, I don't know if it would be Connie for me. I also do like Maurice, he's very funny. Maurice funny. But as I said, it would probably have to be Mona. Mona to make me do something crazy. Yeah, because it's like I feel like Mona brings out the best in Missy almost, or that like when we meet Missy, she feels very like timid and shy, and then she grows into herself more. And I think, yeah, like I feel like Mona brings that out of her. I think like some of the hormone monsters don't necessarily always bring like the kids out of themselves. Like some of them, yeah, like I said, I think I mentioned Andrew and Jay, they're already just they're already just weird. Like they already know. They already know what to do and what they're like. Do you know what I mean? So, but what was it I was gonna, my next next topic, which was Caleb, right? I was going to talk about Caleb because I saw a TikTok yesterday and I was like, wow, so people generally actually don't, yeah, it's said to be that people don't actually like Big Mouth, right? Which I was very surprised about. I even want to search it now just to see. Yeah, but I saw on TikTok that it's not really received well and that some people don't like it because, like, people don't like it, what's it called? Yeah, I don't know. I think, yeah, I think people have said maybe, oh yeah, people have said that they think it's too risque, maybe. That's probably a great word to use actually, for like, I don't know, for kids. But then I feel like it's adult animation anyways. Like it's rated 18, kids can't watch it anyways. So, but it's just like, I think as a whole, like it Right, like this says, oh, I saw this is the best animated show ever made. It isn't lame. Generally offensive comedy, like shows like Family Guy. It's real comedy about our bodies, which is exactly right. Like, and no, what I was moving on to talking about right now was that the representation, right? The representation for literally everybody, in this show. You know what I mean? Like you have obviously Missy, sorry, you have Jess or Jesse. Yeah, Jesse. Jesse. You have Nick. You have Andrew, Jay. You have all these people who are representing, but obviously especially Caleb, because Caleb is representing the autistic community, right? And yeah, and it's such a good way. Like it's so, I don't know. I was gonna say, is it what's it called? Is it subtle the way that they've done it? But I feel like obviously Caleb's representation is very good. Um Exactly, like it reminds us of our own escapades at that age. And for instance, some of the best and crazy adult comedy you've ever seen. Watch it. Like this is what I mean. I think to myself, why wouldn't people like it? Like, and if that's the case, but it's because it's like there's so many other shows. Like how that person said, there's so many other shows. When you think of comedy shows, the ones that are a bit like they're a bit weird. Like, you know what I mean? But no, but then they're just like they just try too hard. Um, yeah, they just try too hard. So, um, yeah, so it says here that in Big Mouth, Caleb is generally portrayed as a character with autism, often showing traits like a monotone voice, a lack of social cues, and a tendency to plan meticulously. Some viewers have found his representation relatable and insightful, appreciating how the show tackles complex topics like autism sensitivity. However, others feel his portrayal leans into stereotype and could be a missed opportunity for more nuanced depictions of autism, especially in terms of masking and the diverse experience of autistic individuals. I understand that, right? Because, I mean, they said, oh, Caleb is socially inept and has problem interacting and fitting with other kids. But he really does get on with Andrew. I mean, not Andrew, sorry. He gets on with Matt. Yeah, he gets on with Matt, with Matthew. And this is the thing, that's what I was saying. I'm talking about representation again. Like, Matthew's gay, then you have Caleb who's autistic, there's so many different layers, like, and I think everyone wants to be able to be seen. But anyway, that write-up that I just read, I think that probably is very true. Like, as in, maybe people would feel like watching it that Caleb fits into, the stereotype, which is like mainly widespread autistic cases. Like, not the autistic cases probably where you want to see, where people probably maybe want to see the ones where you're lower down on the spectrum. And like, because I think in that write-up it said something about masking. So you want to see people who people who have a hard, or people have a hard time knowing that they're autistic. I feel like I can relate to that because I've had people tell me that I come across autistic, but it's like you wouldn't, it's not always a thing where like you would necessarily always know. But I think maybe what people are saying is that they've picked the easy route in making a character that like is, I don't know, abundantly and like obviously autistic. And I guess maybe that's why he would have a trouble, what's it called, they would have a problem with it, because it's a easy it's an easy feat, like, as in it's an easy way to put them, it's an easy box or an easy thing to do. Because sometimes, I guess, some autistic representations do come across wrong. If we're on the subject of that, some of them are, like, not done well. Yeah. Some of them are not done well. Like, look, it says media representation of autism can be both beneficial and harmful, while increased portrayals in fictional and non-fictional media can raise awareness and promote empathy. They often perpetuate stereotypes, minimize challenges, or fail to showcase the diversity within the autistic community. Positive portrayals often highlight strengths and nuanced experience, while negative ones can reinforce stigma and misinformation. So it says, so it breaks it down here. It says stereotypes, infantilization and patronization, lack of diversity, focus on challenges, not strengths, misinformation, and pseudoscience. But okay, actually this one many focuses on challenges, not strengths. Many media portrayals focus on the difficulties associated with autism, neglecting to highlight the strengths, talents, and unique perspectives of autistic individuals. I feel like that one, like, this is what I mean, like, it's practically like I'm going through a list, but I feel like that one in particular, they do hit that mark with Caleb. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like, yeah, Caleb has a lot of he has a lot of strengths, and it's not even like, it's not even like when you think of Caleb you're just like, oh, he's autistic. Like, it's not even something that I really even, honestly, it's not even something that I even really looked at as a viewer myself. I didn't look at that. I was more looking at the way that, like, the way he interacts with people, and like his strengths, and how I feel like also his friendship with Matthew made him like come out of his shell. But it's not really like come out of his shell, but it's like, it probably can be hard when people are like, how it says, like, with autism, it can be hard interacting with others. And it's a thing where, like, he he warmed to Matthew, and he really cared about Matthew. But it says, so that was the negative ones anyway. That was on the negative side. This is positive impacts of media representation, which is increased awareness, promotion of empathy, challenging stereotypes, providing a platform for autistic voices, promoting accurate information, and so, see, this is what I was looking for. Look, so I was looking for examples, right? Examples of positive and negative media portrayals. Positive is Atypical and The Good Doctor are examples of shows that have been praised for their efforts to portray autistic characters in a nuanced and authentic way. And then negative is Rain Man and The Big Bang Theory are examples of films and shows that have been criticized for perpetuating stereotypes and failing to represent the diversity of the autistic community. So, do they not like, I know The Good Doctor, Sean Murphy, but do they not like, I feel like from that write-up, do they not, I think it said obviously negative, was like, so a character like Sheldon, but do people not like that, people not like that portrayal, what do people to do with his okay. Look, it says the criticism stems from the perception that Sheldon's portrayal focuses primarily on his socially awkward and quirky traits, overshadowing the complexities and nuances of individuals on the autism spectrum. Interesting. And that they said His character perpetuates stereotypes of individuals with autism, as the traits associated with his character are caricatured and exaggerated for comedic effect. But then again, I don't know, like, with the type of show Big Bang Theory is, I feel like, I don't know, like, maybe it doesn't work on there for some reason. Maybe it doesn't work on there. I feel like with Big Mouth, like, it works in a different way. Like, Big Bang Theory has a laughing track, or is it one of those supposedly performing in front of a live audience? I don't know, but that's what they say anyways. But like, and I spoke about comedy on my podcast before. Like, yeah, the thing that, like, comedy is like, do you know what I mean? It's outdated, like, not outdated, but it's not great that much. Or, well, Big Mouth does that. Like, this is what I mean. Like, comedy, I feel like Big Mouth, if you think about its layers, and like how I said, in terms of like the hormone monsters, how hormone monsters, representation, what else? What else can I say also? Friendships. I'm just, I'm going through, it's not like I have a checklist, but it's a mental one in my head. I'm thinking, like, what are the positives? But there is a lot, like, and I don't know, I think to myself, Big Mouth, like, when I was thinking about Big Mouth's crudeness, it's like, yes, it's like, it's very crude and risque than all the other shows that are out there. Like, do you know what I mean? They don't even do, like, I want to say, like, they don't even do nudity and, like, Big Mouth, I mean, not the Big Mouth is what we're talking about. I mean, they don't do nudity in shows like Family Guy and that. I know that obviously they do in South Park. Everybody knows that. But they don't really do that in Family Guy or those kinds of shows, right? So, yeah. But in this show, they do. They do. And I guess I just think the way they explore themes, yeah. They do it in such a good way. Like, I guess they try to say you shouldn't be embarrassed about your body. Like, I feel like that's their key themes and messages. You shouldn't be embarrassed about your body, and yeah, like, you shouldn't be embarrassed about your body. It's okay. Like, even especially because when I would keep mentioning Andrew, right, I'm just like, with Andrew, it's like, he obviously is supposed to be like, some kind of quirky nerd. Is he Jewish? Yeah, he's Jewish, and like, they obviously make it seem like, okay, Andrew might be the most one who, like, what's the word? He explores that kind of horniness side maybe more than his other, maybe more than his other counterparts, like people in his class, right? But then I guess it tries to let us know that that's also okay, because, do you know what I mean? Because I guess sometimes they try to say with sex, it's like, there's so much judgment around it, you know what I mean? I guess of being if you're into somebody, I mean, if you're somebody who, I don't know, is too into it. I'm trying to think of a way I can phrase this in a good way. But like, as in, yeah, I just think like the whole theme of like puberty and everything like that, they just try to explain that all these emotions that you're feeling are normal. Your body will change a certain way. Like, it's like, yeah, I feel like every time I watch Big Mouth, I'm like to myself, yes, this is a show that you do want to like look back on, like, as in, it's helpful for today's generation. It's not that I think that they should, I don't think that they should be shown it, because no, I think it's a thing where like they obviously would have to watch it afterwards, like in the way that we're all doing. Because I think, what was one of the write-ups I read in this, when I said someone was talking about how it makes you reminisce as an adult, it makes you reminisce on what you were going through as a child, but there was nothing really there for you for like, no, there's nothing for you to look on or to really say you knew what you were doing. And then it makes you realize that, like, yes, all these thoughts and emotions, they're all normal. Like, it's not weird to be like, oh, yeah, like, I don't know, maybe a random theme, like, in the show that was looked at was, like, periods, for example. You guys are like, oh, periods. But I'm like, no, like, come on now. Like, that's the thing. That's the thing. Like, I feel like also, yes, Big Mouth explores so many mature themes, and it's like, they do it in such a way that feels educational but also funny. Like, that's what you want. Like, not like, okay, this is a educational show that will bore you with facts every 5 minutes, but like, it's educational because it's like there's so many different things that take place during that time. Yeah. And I think, remember I was talking about the hormone monsters before as well. Like, I like that just there's so many different ones of them. Like, there's so many different hormone monsters and they're all so different. Like, none of them feel like they're the same. I mentioned how, yeah, I'd want Mona as my hormone monster because um she's really chaotic. Like, I don't know, I think because I was looking at Big Mouth Hormone Monsters, yeah, and I was like, oh, I feel like Connie and Mona are quite similar anyways. They're both like, yeah, they're both like chaos in Phil, but I feel like Mona's like, Mona's more different than Connie though, like in a very different way. Yeah. I'm just like in a very different way. Another thing I want to mention, I think, okay, I want to go back to the topic of comedy again and just like how funny Big Mouth is. Like, dearie me, it makes me laugh so much. Um, I think, oh yeah, I already spoke about Judd because I love Judd. But like hashtag love Judd, hashtag I love Judd. People can relate to that. So I'm sure you can. And then I feel like Nick's sister's cool as well. Like, it's like there's so many different background characters as well, and I feel like they all have their mark. Like, you know what I mean? No character actually gets left in the lurch. Like, yeah, you could literally. It's like I feel like with all the characters, you could say at least one thing about them. One thing, like not anything crazy, but just one. Just at least one, like, so. And oh my gosh, and then Jay, like when I think about Jay, right, I'm like, I think about his dog in it, and his dog is hilarious. His dog is so funny. Like, I want to check quickly. Yeah, featuring Ludacris. Featuring Ludacris. Oh, that's so funny. Is a recurring character who has a unique ability to be aware of his own existence. He's known for his strong personality and comic relief throughout the show. No, literally. Oh, because I mean, it's so funny. Like, he was, I guess, the most funny one for me is when featuring Ludacris looks in the mirror and he's like, me, me, me. Well, like, like, I think it's just, I feel like it's what pets would be like. Do you know what I mean? If they could speak. So it's been interesting that, like, there was obviously that trend that I'm so hungry I could eat a dog. And it was like, like, pets understand humans, and they don't want to let us know, but then that trend let people know that they know what we're saying. You know what I mean? They know what we're saying, and sometimes they just decide not to listen. That's the craziest thing. They just decide to be against it, and they're like, no, I'm not going to listen to this because I don't want to. But it's like, knowing that they can is crazy. So, and then I've also seen, obviously, there's the other ones where dogs can speak, yeah, but I just mean, of course, we know that featuring Ludacris speaks because this is a television show, right? And then I guess he's like, yeah, like I said, he seems like a kind of dog that you think he would be, somebody who doesn't know that they exist. They're having a hard time getting used to that. And it's like, tell me about it. I was like, humans, like, even we do that too. Like, existential crises. We're like, oh my gosh, I'm actually real. And how do I deal with that? Do you know what I mean? That's why he's so funny. And I think his comedy also comes across so, like, monotone and blunt. Like, it's just the best type of comedy. Like, it's not forced comedy. It's comedy that's like relaxed, and it's like it's just meant to make you laugh, but like not in a scary way. Oh, I'm currently, I don't know if I mentioned this already, but I'm currently obviously rewatching Big Mouth anyways. Because like I'm rewatching it because obviously I was like to myself, I want to, because it's coming out. What's it called? Yeah, so it's coming out. Wait, it's coming out. Yes, it's coming out next month on May 23rd. So I was kind of like, oh, I want to rewatch it so that, even though it's like, I feel like I know what happened basically anyways. Do you know what I mean? I think when I was rewatching again, I think I forgot about Nick and Jesse, and I don't know why, but I just did. I was like, oh, but then I guess it's like I haven't watched Big Mouth in a long time, but it's nice that I'm rewatching it again. Just for bants, just to relive it. You know what I mean? Um, and it's funny. I think even like obviously what I was talking about again, like just with the layers, and like each family is also different. Like Missy's family, she's got, and Jesse's, like, what's that? She's got mum and dad are not together, and then you have Nick, whose parents are together, and they're locked in. They are locked in. And he and his dad is like really great to his wife, and he loves his kids. And his dad is like such a character. Like, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Everyone's funny. I said everyone's funny. Everyone has a role. Like, I'm like, if you don't watch Big Mouth, you should. And I think, yeah, I don't know. We all have a hard time watching things, and I think sometimes if they make us uncomfortable, and hello, believe me, I've been there. Like, I know it's just like it feels weird. Like sometimes I don't know when I was talking about this. Was I talking about? Can't remember. Maybe in my New Girl episode, probably, because I was talking about Minx, right? And obviously I was talking about the fact that Minx is a show that it has lots of nudity in it, and then it can be a bit hard to like stomach, or hey, I haven't watched it in a very long time, so then that's also another thing that will clue you in, which would be like, oh yes, it makes me uncomfortable. But then like I said about Big Mouth, yes, I said it's educational and it makes you reminisce. And I just think to myself, like, I'm envious of the children, yeah, because I'm like, imagine how helpful it is to have a hormone monster and to like know all of these things. But we don't have these things as humans. We have to figure it out for ourselves, basically, or well, we get taught it in schools, but like, even when you get taught it in schools, it's still like, it's still not beneficial enough. Like, it's like it could be way more beneficial. Like, this is what I'm saying. And yeah. Yeah. I hear about this show for so much, actually. But I feel like I've covered everything, though. I've covered everything. Watch Big Mouth and form your own opinion. I think I would be interested to know if people have seen Big Mouth, what they do think. Actually, remember when I was talking about Caleb's representation, what they do think about that, and if anything else in the show does stand out to you, because maybe is there stuff in the show that you don't like. I mean, and if you have also not seen Big Mouth but you've heard of it, is there a reason why like you're holding yourself back to not watch it? And yeah, so thank you for listening and see you in the next one.